What is up, guys, and welcome to the Meeple Minded podcast, the podcast where we talk all things tabletop gaming. My name is Jason.
And my name is James.
How are you doing this week, James?
Yeah, not too bad.
Good. As always, we are doing exceptionally well at doing this in one take.
Yeah, of course we are. Yeah. No, we haven't messed up the intro at all.
No, not well. I messed up the intro, let's be honest now. This is what happens, James, when I try and be healthy.
Yes.
Because I messed up the intro because I decided that it would be a good idea, while the music was playing, to eat a slice of mango.
Yes. Forgetting that you'd not turn the mics off.
Yep. So there was a lot of noises and then, well, not quite swallowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As he realised that the faders were still up.
Yes. This is the problem, James, because I wasn't looking at you. And you were desperately trying to wave your hands about and trying to show me what was going on.
Save the takes. Oh, no, he's ruined it.
This is the problem, mate. You would have put me off my mango.
Mm.
The mango is vitally important for any good tabletop gamer. I mean, that's the subject right there. Why is mango so vitally important to tabletop gaming? I mean, not soon, because I'd have to come up with an actual good argument for that, because that was just a spur of the moment thing. But yes, how are you this week, James? It's your week off.
It's the last day of my week off.
It is the last day of your week. Have you had a good week off?
I have had a relaxing week off.
Good. Have you got up to much?
No.
Well, that's not good at all then, is it?
No, but it was a relaxing week off. It was enjoyable because I did nothing.
No, that's fair. I mean, you've got some games in, though.
I have got some games.
You didn't join me for a full day of gaming on Sunday, though.
I did not.
Because you did some other social thing.
Yes, social things.
I mean, it's rude, isn't it, really? Well, dear listeners, you will have noticed a nice big, a gap there as to why we just suddenly stopped. The UPS man knocked at my door, and us being us, we completely forgot what we were talking about, James. So,
yes.
How's your week been, James?
I think that's what we were talking about. My week has been fine. We will redo this bit. And I didn't join you for a game day on Sunday because I had other social engagements. That's what we were talking about.
Exactly what we were talking about. Yes, indeed. What were your other social engagements, James, that were so much more important than joining me for a whole day of gaming?
How do I phrase this?
Does she listen?
No.
Then you're okay.
I was watching a rugby game. That's the safest way to put it.
Ah, okay. Was this one of the really big UK games?
No, it was a local one.
Okay, fair enough. It was a friend.
Far more important. I have a friend who plays for the women's team.
Yeah, well, there you go. Was it a good game? Did we win?
No.
Okay, so moving on. Go Crawley!
Yay. She doesn't listen. There's 15 players on a team, so I'm not going to say that none of the others listen. It's possible.
Yeah, well, you never know.
So I'm going to be safe and say, no, they didn't.
They gave it their best effort.
They did indeed.
Yes. The real question is, James, now I don't know much about sport because I don't like sport, but I know a little bit about rugby, and that is there's this game that they play right before the game starts in the bar. Now, that's what I've been told where the game actually is in the bar afterwards. Is that correct?
There's a large drinking culture around rugby. Yes, there is.
Well, there we go. I assume that was the game that you enjoyed. Okay, right. I'm with you now. But other than that, relaxing week.
I was going to say the rest of it just did seem to involve the spending an hour and a half fighting over an egg-shaped ball.
Yes. I see, while I have this amazing physique for rugby, I just don't like the sport. You think I'm joking? I'm not. I'm a large set man, and it would be like running into a wardrobe. So I class myself as a very good rugby player. Not so much on the tackling side. I'm fine to be the one that gets tackled. So
you want to be in the shield wall.
I want to be in the shield. Yeah, the meat shield. Yeah, that's what I'd be good at. Other than that, James, you've had a good relaxing week.
I have indeed.
Ready to get back to the grind tomorrow, and you're raring to go back to work, right?
Yay.
No. No, I obviously haven't had a week off because otherwise we would have been at Essen.
Yes, next year, Jason.
However,
next year.
Let's talk about that, James.
Next year.
Because this week has been a damn good week.
It has.
For all things round, because you've had a week off.
Yes.
We've got I especially have got a crazy amount of gaming in. And just last night, we booked our hotel for UK Games Expo.
We did.
And this very evening, we're going to be booking our hotels for Essen next year, are we not?
Indeed.
This is a damn good week.
It is.
It's a very good week. Should we talk about some of the games we played?
Let's talk about some of the games we've played.
Well, James, I'll let you go first because you've played a few less than me.
I have.
But I'm not going to highlight all the games I've played because there was a lot of them. But pick one that we've played, James. Let's talk about it.
We have played Masters of the Universe Clash of Eternia.
Yes. Was it definitely Clash of Eternia?
It was. I'm looking at the box of the one we didn't play behind you.
Oh, yes, because that's Fields of Eternia, not Clash. In fact, it's not Clash of Eternia, it's Clash for Eternia. But, potatoes.
Yeah.
That was both of our first time playing that game.
Yes.
What did you think of it?
I really enjoyed it.
Good. We were actually on the same team.
We were playing Ant.
Playing against Ant, who was playing as the evil... was it Evelyn was his main character, wasn't it?
It's Evelyn, Beast Man, and Lockjaw, if I remember correctly, were the three characters that he had, plus a lot of minions.
Yes, a hell of a lot of minions. They didn't last very long, though, those minions.
No.
And we chose the super powerhouse team of Tila and Orko.
Yeah.
And Orko was surprisingly powerful.
So was Tila.
But, well, we kind of knew that, though, didn't we, after the latest series of revelations that Tila is basically a walking tank.
Yep.
Whereas Orko is a floating abomination.
But he's good at teleporting things.
He is very good at teleporting things, but yeah. It's interesting. So people might not know what the difference between Clash for Eternia and Fields of Eternia are. Long story short, Clash for Eternia is the Call Me or Not version that is, I suppose we should put in air quotes, meant to be exclusive to the United States and that sort of area. Whereas Fields of Eternia is the Archon Studio game that came out at the same time but is exclusive to Europe. So, Ant managed to get his hand on Clash for Eternia. This is one I have wanted to play. So basically it's one versus all, isn't it, in that game? Yeah,
pretty much. So you've got a team, and it does switch depending on which scenario you're playing. But yeah, it's basically a team of players versus the controller.
Yeah. And I think our mission was we had to locate
Prince Adam
and
rescue him,
get him off the board. If we did, we won. If we failed or Prince Adam died, we lost.
Yep.
Pretty simple.
And that also answers the question that I'm sure a few listeners will have, which is, you were playing Masters of the Universe game. Why wasn't one of you playing as He-Man? Because he was the objective.
Yes, exactly. And as with everything, I especially like to create a rather big cluster and make games as difficult as possible.
Yeah.
I thought choosing a weak character like Orko would have really stopped us, but I think we figured out quite quickly that once we started unlocking powers and I unlocked the teleport option, which was stupidly powerful because I was able to teleport not just myself, but anyone within 4 spaces of me, with me, up to 4 spaces. So we were just teleporting all around the board and getting round his minions and stuff without barely having any combat.
Yep.
So,
and when there was combat, my God, Taylor's a machine.
Yes, indeed. But we are going to be playing a few more games of that.
Yeah, I look forward to that. I look forward to giving some of the other characters a try, maybe playing as the villains, because like I said, depending on the scenario, the controllers can play as the heroes or the villains, depending on the scenario.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to trying that. Yeah, we won't have to wait too long, which is good. And I can well believe that we'll probably do a game highlight episode of that at some point. And at some point, I am probably going to try and learn the rules for Fields of Eternia. But it's a big rule book, and there's lots of stuff.
So, I mean, just as a thing, you've already done a bit of a sort of background on the game, but what is the main difference? Because Clash for Eternia is a skirmish game.
It's far more of a skirmish game, yeah.
So what
Fields of Eternia, again, I haven't played it yet, but from what I can gather, it's far more dudes on a map, area control, that kind of stuff. You've got a nice big board, which is obviously Eternia, with all the different sections in it, and you control a character, and I believe you have minions of your own, which you can use to dot about the board. But it looks like a more in-depth version of something like Inish, I would say.
Okay.
Without the card drafting and stuff like that. But yeah, it looks interesting. I haven't really paid that much attention to it.
Yeah. So they are different games then, effectively.
Yes, very, very different games. I'd actually say, because Archon Studios actually released Masters of the Universe Battleground as well, which is a skirmish game. So I'm now interested to try that and actually see how different that is from the Call Me or Not game. But that's one of the games we played this week, James.
Yep.
I'm going to talk about one that I played on the Sunday that you weren't there. Now, this one is one that I'm going to get you to play because I really enjoyed it and I know it's a theme that you'll go for. It was called Robot Quest Arena. Now, this is in all but intellectual property, Robot Wars. That's essentially what it was. But it was a much more cutesy version of it. You had nice little robot meeples, robot miniatures, which you were sending around a battleground, fighting other robots. Last robot standing wins. That's the base. That's it, really. But it's done through deck building.
Okay.
So you start with a deck of essentially power batteries, and those batteries are your actions. And also your currency for the game, because there's obviously cards that you can purchase in order to increase your deck. And that's kind of, it's a deck builder with some miniatures. That's basically what it was. And it just flowed really nicely, to be honest. And the whole time, all I had going through my head was Craig Childs, his voice coming in my head, getting really excited about just the carnage of these robots fighting. And then, of course, when we start in the round, it was the 3, 2, 1, activate, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
I was being very sad.
See, I know we're British here, but the minute you said Craig Charles, it's like, oh, yes, for our American listeners, it would have obviously been Mick Foley, because he was the American presenter.
It was, yes.
And mainly because I remember going to see Robot Wars in Earl's Court when I was about 14.
Yeah.
And them having to do the...
everything twice.
Yeah, so the battle only happened once, but obviously they had two Craig Charles would come out and do his bit and then go off, and then Mick Foley would come out and do his bit and then go off.
So now the question is here, James, because there's always a fight between British and American TV shows. Bearing in mind that this was basically the same show with a different presenter.
Yeah.
Which presenter did you prefer?
Oh, difficult though, because Craig Charles was on home turf.
He was, but if you took away the home field advantage, which one did you prefer?
Probably Mick Foley.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I might have to watch some of his stuff and see if I agree with that. I always love Craig Charles. I mean, his lack of appearance in this latest series, where he was replaced by Dara O'Brien, comedian, for those that don't know, I couldn't get into it because it lacked that excitement.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the game. What do you like? Do you like the sound of that game?
I do. I'm interested to try it.
It would be really cool. Like I said, it's a very cutesy Japanesey style. I guess kind of think of like Big Hero 6, where you've got the battle bots, but obviously some of their battle bots are quite brutal. Yeah. These are quite cutesy little ones, but that sort of style. But yeah, they were pretty cool. I really enjoyed it. I happen to have some of the really old Robot Wars toy sets. Yep. Where it's got some of the old house robots in it. And they're actually the same size as the ones that come in the game. And I actually said, while we were playing it, I was like, do you know what this is missing? It's missing some house robots. Yeah.
I do remember that from Robot Wars, thinking that was a little unfair, because it's like, obviously you've got they're like universities that used to go on it. Yeah. And obviously they've spent their year's budget building this thing, and they've just come like, oh yeah, here's to kill a lot.
Yep. Oh yeah, the rules are you're not actually allowed to attack the house robots, but they are happily allowed to attack you at whim.
Yeah.
I believe in the later series, they sort of eased up on that a bit, didn't they? That you had to do something wrong for the house robots to come and attack you.
Yeah, because it's just sort of like, this guy, to kill a lot, I remember being the big bad one, but you had Sergeant Bash.
Yep.
With the flamethrower.
Yeah.
Matilda with the chainsaw in the backside. It's just like, it's poor university students who spent a year's budget building this robot to take on other robots in that class, and it's like, here's the house robots that if you go near them, they're just going to annihilate you.
See, that I understood. I sort of understood a little bit, because it's like, oh, well, at least, it's a university that's paid for it. It's when you got the dad and son team that would come along, and the son's sitting there in an interview going, I spent my entire year's pocket money building this. And 30 seconds later, it's completely annihilated, on fire, in pieces, strewn about the arena.
Although, wasn't there a Hypnodisc, I remember being brutal. Yeah. But there was the one that had the really powerful flipper. I think actually took one of them down because everyone was like, "Oh no, here comes one of the oh my god, it's flipped the house robot."
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy good. But yes, James, we're going to be playing that game soon. Yeah, I think you'll really enjoy it.
Just from that little segment, you might have worked out that we might be fans of Robot Wars.
Yes, we like Robot Wars, definitely. I really miss the original. But yes, that was Robot Quest Arena. Really look forward to playing that again. I'm going to have to borrow that from Paul because it's Paul's game. But it was a Kickstarter that delivered just last week. So yeah, great fun. James, next game.
Project Elite.
Yes. Now, there was a reason we played Project Elite. But, James.
Yes.
How did that game go?
Surprisingly well.
It did go well, but it was only right at the end that we realised, because it's been, over a year since we last played that game, that we may have got some of the rules ever so slightly wrong.
Yes, just a little bit.
And we may have given ourselves just a little bit of an advantage there.
Yeah.
So I think we might need to fix that and try it again.
Yes.
But yes, did you enjoy it, James? Because it was a bit of a cluster. We introduced 2 new people.
Yes.
To the game. Both coming from a Warhammer background.
Yes.
And I believe my selling point to them was, this game will show you how Tyranids should be played.
Yes.
How did it go? Did they enjoy it?
I think they did.
Yeah.
I think they both enjoyed it.
So, I mean, we've not talked about Project Elite on here before. We thought we had. And it turns out we haven't. And that will be rectified in the coming weeks, hopefully, because that's one of the reasons we wanted to play it again. But do we want to play it again, James, before we do that review? Because
yes,
we feel we do.
Yeah, we got the rules wrong, so that's a definite yes.
Yeah, we definitely need to get those rules right before we remember exactly what we do and don't like about that game. But yeah, it was fun. I've always liked Project Elite, the crazy dice rolling, stuff like that. And this is irony, really, because we talked about our things that put us off games a few weeks ago, and obviously real-time games is one of my top 5 that I don't like, whereas Project Elite falls heavily in that. Yeah, I love that game. I do. So yeah, look forward to playing Project Elite a little bit more in the coming weeks. But another game that we played, or in fact, I'll do another one that I played on Sunday. It was my first time playing Ticket to Ride London. Now, I've played Ticket to Ride before, but this is my first time playing one of the smaller box Ticket to Rides. And Ticket to Ride London, which is obviously the train game, Ticket to Ride London is about London buses. So, interesting game. It is basically normal Ticket to Ride, small version. Much quicker. It was only 20 minutes for the game. You've not played Ticket to Ride, have you?
No. I managed to have, mainly because I think you're the one introducing me to all these games. I seem to have skipped all the quote-unquote gateway games.
Yes, you did, yeah. But you've played On the Underground, which is a fairly similar concept. Obviously, Ticket to Ride is basically the same. You're creating lines with your trains, and in this case, buses. That's literally the only difference that I could see, other than smaller map, smaller components, smaller box, smaller price tag. Not too bad. Would play it again. Don't intend on owning it. Ticket to Ride London. Should we talk about one more game, James, that we've played?
Yeah, go on, Jace.
Okie dokie. Another game that we played just last week with Anthony was Pyramido.
Yes.
Now, do you remember much about Pyramid?
I do.
Yes? Pray tell us what your thoughts on Pyramido are, James, because I'll be honest with you, I don't remember much, but I think it's because I lost.
Yes.
Ah, okay, cool. Tell us about Pyramido, James.
I didn't win, if anyone. You're building a pyramid, Jason.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah. So I think I'm testing my memory now, but I think it's basically like domino-shaped pieces.
Yeah.
And your base layer can be, I think it's either 5x4 or 4x5.
Yeah.
And you're going one in every time, so you're making a pyramid out of these things. And it's basically pattern layout, isn't it? You're trying to match the colours.
Yeah. I remember it being fairly similar to the likes of Acropolis and Rome in a Day. You know, you're trying to create large clusters of one of the colours.
Yeah,
and
with the score.
And then you times the amount of square... there's like symbols, isn't there, within those colours?
Yeah.
So your score for that area would be the amount of those symbols that are in
that area,
the connected area. But then when that's the first round, and then the second round you're building on top of that layer. So you're actually covering the majority of the board.
Yep.
But
if you've got
it overlapping,
then it counts.
Then it would count, and you score it up again for the next round. So yeah, that's my recollection of it, and what I remember. I remember enjoying it.
Yeah,
but I do feel like I need to play it more because I just don't remember much else of it. What was there anything that stood out to you that you liked?
No, like you said, the comparison with things like Rome in a Day and Acropolis, very similar. Like you said, it's that multiplier of colour by symbols to get your scoring. But the fact that it can cascade when you get up several, like to the third or fourth layer, it can cascade down the side as well. So it's surprisingly thinky.
Yeah, I think definitely knowing how it plays, I would play things slightly different.
Oh yeah, I would have taken his advice that he gave both of us and saved those retiling things until the third or fourth layer.
Yeah, because that was the thing, wasn't it? At some point, you've got, I think it's 3 double-sided, basically bits of card, which you could place over one of the sides of the domino piece, if you like, to change its fascia. Which might benefit you in later rounds. Neither of us took that advice.
No, we put them all on the bottom layer and then covered them.
Yeah, and I do think Ant was right. Yeah, there's a hold at least 2 of them, I think, for later rounds. But yeah, Pyramido. Yeah, I like it. I don't remember much of it. I definitely want to play it again. Maybe we'll talk about it in the future. Who knows?
Yes.
Who knows?
Yes.
We seem to be talking about a lot of Ant's games recently.
We do.
We've been enjoying playing them.
We do. Although, on the subject of Kickstarters turning up, which you mentioned earlier, it's like there's a lovely little pile sitting on the table here, Jason. Do you want to talk about that briefly?
I guess we could. Yep. Yeah. Obviously, Essen was last week. So first and foremost, I'm going to talk about my Essen purchases that I managed to do while not even there.
Yes.
So first and foremost, a big thank you to Simon of Board Stupid for picking some games up for me. One of the games we've been most looking forward to, James, Sky Team.
Yes.
The 2-player game Sky Team. It is now in my possession. It is sat right by the side of us, teasing us with its 2-player goodness.
Yes.
Knowing full well that we're not going to be able to play it this evening. But we will likely play it at some point this week. So yes, I now have Sky Team. I also have a game that I didn't. Well, I say a game, an expansion that I hadn't planned on buying, but I now have the expansion for Ark Nova as well. I have the Marine Worlds expansion. James, are you looking forward to that one?
I am. I said this as a joke when you first heard it. I was like, that's a considerably smaller box than the base game.
Well, it really is, isn't it? It is crazy small, that one. But there's not as much in it. So,
no, but it's just big box.
Tiny little box, yeah. So yeah, Marine Worlds for Ark Nova I've got. Just an hour ago, James, I had Taiwan Night Market turned up.
Yep.
What I didn't know about that game is it's actually a 3 to 4 player game, so need to make sure we get some plays of that. And also 2 expansions for the Die of the Dead has also turned up this week.
Yes.
Which is marvellous because it's a game that we both like. Very, very lightweight game. However, from reading some of the rules, I've not had a proper read of them, but it looks like this is going to make the game a little bit more in depth. So that could be interesting. Maybe we'll do that. And yeah, as we discussed, the UPS man knocked on our door as we started recording. And I haven't opened this package yet, but I know what it is. This is my lovely printed MDF insert for Starship Captains. Which means, James, that once I've built this weekend, we need to get Starship Captains to the table.
Yes, we do.
I'm so upset about that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like that game. You know,
dreading the thought.
It's terrible.
Dreading the thought.
Indeed. We were going to play it tonight because, you know, spoiler, today is actually game night.
Yeah.
We're recording on a different day. Anthony will be arriving in approximately an hour's time, I believe. But yeah, we were going to be playing that tonight, but I wanted my insert all ready to help with the setup and teardown.
Yes.
And it only arrived, like I said, 30 minutes ago, ironically.
Yes, I am on the subject of Anthony turning up this evening. I am playing the role of tempter this evening with a rulebook this evening. He sort of mentioned it to me last week when we were playing. He was sort of umming and ahhing about it, and I just sort of, I'll bring the rulebook over so you can have a look at it. And it's just sort of, You can thank me later, Games Workshop.
Yeah. So what are you showing him?
It is the Warhammer Horus Heresy rulebook.
Oh, so he's been talking about 30k, has he?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anthony, that's a rabbit hole you don't want to go down.
It is a rabbit hole, but, you know, who am I to stop somebody from jumping into a rabbit hole of their own choosing?
Well, I mean, he is coming with us to Expo and Essen next year, so don't get him into an expensive hobby, James. He's already got one. I'm sure his wife will love you forever.
Hey, I did nothing except show him a book.
Yeah, you've tried that excuse with me a few times, James. It doesn't work like that. And you know full well it is. You're a sick and twisted enabler, is what you are. So, James, quick update for the viewers. We talked a couple of weeks ago, maybe even last week, about Distilled.
Yes, we did.
And I said that I wanted to buy the game.
Yes.
And I would like to confirm that I have not bought the game.
I'm genuinely surprised. I thought that was leading into I have indeed purchased the game and it's on its way.
I have not purchased the game. I am showing extreme restraint in the hope that my family will chip together to buy it for my birthday. Because if they don't, I am going to disown them. And I think that would be a justified response.
Absolutely.
You know, I never ask for anything for my birthday. You know, in fact, I actively try and put people off buying things for my birthday. So it should tell you how much I want this thing. If you then decide not to club together on it, how dare you? How very dare you indeed? I fully understand. Just for the record, I'm not that much of a so and so. But but yes, James. I also said that I was going to try and convince you to buy it, James. Have you bought it?
No.
Excellent. Damn.
Do you know why I haven't bought it, Jason?
Why haven't?
Because we just bought hotels for Expo, and tonight we're buying hotels for us.
Oh yeah, that's a fair comment. That is a fair comment. I'm looking around for hints of anything else I'm supposed to be talking about. Yes, James, there is something we need to talk about. We have a competition coming up, don't we?
We do have a competition.
We do. We've had our lips.
Is it because I was just staring at that box? Because I was staring at that box thinking, we haven't played that for a while. We need to play that.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we're not going to let's not give too much away, James. There is a competition coming, and I would like lots of our listeners to get involved with it. We have some... how can we do this with being mysterious? We have some promo cards for a certain game that we have talked about in the past. I'm excited to do this, but we want to do a nice little sort of interesting competition, shall we say, to give these out. They're going to be totally free to anyone who wins it, but I'm thinking something like, I don't know, take pictures of you playing the game in question, or maybe take some pieces from that game out into the woods and take some pictures of the pieces in the woods, or something fun like that. What do we think? Do you reckon that'd be interesting?
Yeah.
Post them to us on social media, you know, all that hashtag stuff, you know, hashtagging the makers of the game and stuff like that. But that will hopefully be announced, I believe, next week.
Next week. And we'll run the competition for, say, 2-3 weeks. And then about a week after that, I will post out the promo cards to whoever wins. Because it'll just be a randomised thing. We're not going to pick like the best pictures or anything, but you know, they'll all be submitted, and then we'll use a randomizer, and that'll just pick the names. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Hopefully, we've been mysterious enough for you to keep an eye on the social media to know when we announce that competition. But mysterious stuff aside, James, shall we jump into this week's topical discussion? Yeah, let's do it, Jason.
Let us do it indeed. Oh, nearly had it on the wrong soundboard there, James. As you were doing, let's do it indeed. I was just frantically trying to change the soundboard. But anyway, I managed to do it, and no one knew any of the wiser until I told them that it had happened. Today's recording is...
It's a bit slapdash.
It's a bit slapdash, isn't it? But James, what are we talking about today? Do you know? Losing, yes. We are talking about losing. This is a subject just for you, sir.
I know. I am a veritable expert on this topic.
So this is going to be a James episode indeed. We were joking about this last night, weren't we? How, you know, South Park do that whole Butters dedicated episode. And now this is our turn for the James dedicated episode. And for the first one, we're talking about losing.
Losing, yes. Something I do exceptionally well.
So, James, as such an exceptional person at losing, how do you do it, sir? How do you do it?
I don't know, because quite often when I do it, I'm actually in a position to win, and then I get pipped at the post at the last minute.
You do. You do indeed. And that is where the skill comes in.
It is. It takes a lot of skill to lose the game by like a couple of points.
So, I mean, we joke about you losing, James. It's not about winning. But at the same time, losing is a bit demoralising, wouldn't you think?
It depends.
Okay. On what?
Well,
how bad I pummel you into the ground.
I'm sorry, sir, but are you not on a bit of a losing streak at the moment?
I am, James, because that is ultimately what has caused this episode. While I like to take the mickey out of you for losing all the time, I am indeed on a losing streak. And I don't like it.
You don't like it.
So I need your expert advice, James, on how I deal with such just...
How you deal with the crippling despair of being beaten week in and week out.
Exactly. I feel like I've gone 10 rounds with Mike Tyson on a weekly basis.
Yep.
I feel like my life is over and that I should just give up gaming forever. So, James, please tell me, how do you continue to game when you just lose all the time, despite the fact that you've been beating me quite a bit recently?
Yeah.
I thought I'd get it in there.
Yeah.
There's
there you go. He said that begrudgingly.
I did. It hurt. That was 20 rounds with Mike Tyson in one go. So, yeah, James, talk.
In all seriousness, I think the reason I've genuinely never been one of those persons. Oh no, it's all about winning. I must win. So it's enjoyable for me because I think it's because of the game group we play with.
Yeah,
the games are fun, and even when I lose, I'm not coming dead last most of the time. I'm just not winning.
Yeah.
And the games are always really close. Not like someone's been left behind in the dirt. Like I said, it's for the most part, the games that we've played, there's been only a few points between first and last place.
Yeah, it's very true, yeah.
And that's what makes the games enjoyable. If the overall experience of the game is enjoyable, ultimately it doesn't matter.
Yeah. No, I mean, I do agree with that. And let's be honest, at some point, we all lose.
Yeah.
We all lose.
It's statistical... what's the word? It's statistically guaranteed at some point is going to happen.
Of course it is. Yeah, indeed. And, the truth of the matter is, like I said, it's not about winning, but I have to admit, as I don't like to seem big-headed when we're talking about winning and losing because, yes, the truth of the matter is I do win quite a lot, but by the same token, I play probably quite a lot more games than everyone else in our group.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of more accustomed to playing, to knowing pretty quickly what the best path to victory might be, and of course I'm going to take advantage of that. That's a benefit to having the brain that I have, as small as it is, But then the truth really is that if I do lose, it does affect me, but not like ends my world or anything like that. But I do just sort of sometimes think, oh, well, I put a lot of effort into that.
Yeah.
And it didn't work. Why didn't it work? And it just makes me question myself, but really, should I be doing that? Because it's just a game.
It is just a game. I mean, it depends on how you're looking at it, because questions like that will help you be a better gamer.
Yeah.
For sure. It's like, okay, why didn't my strategy work? There's nothing wrong with that. Well, was it you were just defeated by chance? If the game's got random elements in there, you could have the best strategy in the world, but if the dice don't go your way, then the dice don't go your way.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. I find as well, it's a lot easier. I think that's the right way to phrase it. It's a lot easier to lose in board games than it was, say, in the tabletop games, which is where I came from, because a lot of tabletop games are very unforgiving. If you make a mistake,
it's not losing by a little bit.
You might be depending on the army you're playing, you might be swept off the table in turn one if you make a mistake.
Yeah,
and I've seen it happen.
Of course, yeah.
And that is demoralizing.
Yeah. So I mean, you've probably played war games sooner than me, but we've both not played them for a long time. But did you used to lose quite a lot while playing them, or did you have a better chance? Because I know when we used to play fantasy together, because you didn't actually own a fantasy army, you were using my armies, and again, I knew the armies inside and out because I built them.
Yeah. But
I had a better winning ratio.
You had a better winning ratio, but I would still say it's a 60-40 split in wargaming as to army and strategy and luck. Because there's so much dice rolling. It's it's like
this was before the era of everything had dice mitigation.
Yeah.
In wargaming, wasn't it? Yeah. Well before that.
So you could have the best strategy going, and you could have the world's winning list, but if the dice aren't on your side that day, it's not going to perform for you.
Yeah. See, I never used to find myself getting quite so. I'm making this sound like I get really upset with losing board games. I really don't. But I didn't feel like losing a war game affected me as much as, say, losing a board game where I've put a lot of thought into my strategy and it didn't work. So did you ever find that there is a difference between the two?
Yeah, for me, it was the other way around. Like, I've spent all that time building my list, sort of going, I've got a plan. I know my opponents sent me their list. I know what they're playing. I've sent them my list. I think I know how this game's going to go. And it just hasn't gone that way. And it's just,
Yeah. See, would you say that is quite similar to how I react with regards to board games?
Yeah.
Because you have put strategy and planning in place for your war game session.
Yeah.
Whereas I've done the same, but with a board game. Do you reckon that's the coalition there?
Yeah, it's how much. If you've put a lot of effort into planning what you're going to do and then it doesn't pay off, you're going to be a bit demoralized. But again, it's that learning experience. It's then sitting down and going, okay, why didn't it work?
Yeah.
And is it something I can change, or were the dice just not with me today?
Yeah. Did you ever find, because these are all things that happen to me, fairly regularly. In fact, we've talked about my issues with burnout within the hobby quite a bit. It happens fairly regularly. It's not happened for a long time, which is great. But do you think that there's some kind of connection between the burnout that I may be having to maybe it's coming at the end of a losing streak, or maybe there's a particular game that I was really insistent that I was going to win and then I didn't, and then, do you think that might have caused my burnout?
I think burnout might, in two ways. I think that is correct, but I think burnout might be a symptom of that kind of thing, because you're not thinking about the games maybe as much as you think you are.
Yeah.
And then you're losing, then you're getting frustrated, which is leading to burnout, and it's a vicious circle.
Yeah.
At that point.
Yeah. I would definitely have to agree with that, because I do find that if I'm going on a particularly nasty losing streak, I find it definitely much harder to motivate myself to get around a table to play a game. It's not that it'll put me off of playing a game, but it definitely feels like I would struggle to then play a game, especially if it's a game that I know I lose at all the time. Yet I sit here asking myself, is there a type of game that I would always play if I am on a losing streak that maybe I won't feel quite so downhearted at if I lose? Like, let's say a party game, for example. I couldn't care less about party games. But is that a good game for me to play if I'm on, say, a bad losing streak, instead of playing something that maybe will it be a bit more intensive?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, isn't it? It's like you're talking about strategies not paying off, and it's sort of like, I don't know how you feel about it, but yeah, if every decision you've made in that game has just led from bad to worse, that's probably a bit demoralizing. But I'd actually be more okay with the loss if the game, like you said, when you've only been beaten by a few points, where it's like, okay, the game's gone pretty much how I thought it would be, but last round somebody's done something and they've just pipped me to it. It's like, okay, so this strategy is about 98% complete. Why did it go wrong at the end?
Yeah.
Now I'm actually more excited about that loss, because I'm now thinking about it. It's like, okay, why did it go wrong at the end? And I'm so close to a good strategy here. It's like, okay, why did it fall apart at the end?
Yeah.
How could I fix that? Most of this strategy seems to work.
Okay. So you said something interesting there that I definitely picked up on. We've talked about in the past about games that we really enjoy, that we've then thought about quite a lot afterwards. Would you say that you think about games more after you've lost? In that instance, as you just said, if you've only lost by a few points.
Definitely.
You've also stated that happens quite a lot with you. Do you find that you actually think about games a lot more afterwards if you've lost than if you'd won?
Absolutely.
Okay. Is there a reason? Or is it just
because of that thing of, well, I was almost there, so what happened at the end there? Was it chance, or like I said, or did I mess up at something, and can I fix that? And what if I'd done this at the end instead of that? Would that have paid off? That's what,
So you're saying you would think about it more because you're trying to think of a new strategy for the next time you play the game, whereas if you've just really enjoyed the game and you've won it, it's just kind of like, that was a damn good game. I really enjoyed this happening and this happening. But then once you've thought about the game, it's done.
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of like, again, the flip side to you saying that, you're making it sound out like you've got to win all the time, and that's not the case. It's like, when I say I lose quite a bit, it's like, it doesn't mean I'm not competitive. It's just, I'm just not fussed if, I'm not going to flip the table and be salty about it.
As everyone should be.
If it doesn't pay off, I'd rather learn from that loss. Yeah.
I mean, I would agree that I actually find a lot of enjoyment from losing. But as I said, I do find sometimes I just sort of, like the following day, for example, I'll be at work and I'll just be like, I lost that game last night. I shouldn't really have lost it. That was, I had a good strategy. What the hell went wrong? And like you said, is it, am I actually down about it? Or is it because, no, like you're saying, no, I'm actually got my brain working ready for the next time.
The only time in both board games and wargaming that I was like that is when I know I messed up. It was a silly mistake. I know I did it, and I shouldn't. I'm more experienced than that. So why did I make that? So whether it's tiredness or something else, you've overlooked something that you really shouldn't have,
right?
And that's caused you to lose. And it's sort of, and then that's more of a frustration with my idiot.
Yeah. It's not the game.
It's not the game. It's not the other players. It's totally my fault, and it's not like that is totally avoidable.
Yeah,
you're more experienced than this idiot.
That's fair play. At least you can admit it.
Pretty much. And it's sort of like, that's the times I tend to get a bit sort of, because it's like, you shouldn't be making silly mistakes like that.
No, definitely. So would you, one thing I've always wondered, and it's definitely something that I've made a mistake with in the past, I think, is when I have been suffering from burnout or whatever, I've gone on a losing streak, and I've ended up taking time away from games. And I was, I think to myself, that's a really good idea. Let's take a break from gaming, and then we'll come back and we'll be all refreshed and ready to go again. But then I find it hard to get the engine started again, because I've taken a break after, let's be honest, getting a bit down in the dumps about the fact that everything I do is going to pot. And I just need a refresh, a reset. Do you think it's a wise idea to take time away from games if you're coming off of that kind of mindset?
Yes, I still do. It's always hard, I suppose, to get back into things, no matter what it is, when you take a break. But it is that sort of motivate. It's like, it's like when you have a rest week from the gym.
Yeah.
That first session back's always an uphill struggle.
Yeah.
But in the end, it's done you good to have that rest week.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think gamers are exactly the same. It's like, rather than waiting for the burnout, the gym metaphor is actually quite a good one. Rather than waiting for the burnout to happen, have a rest week.
Yeah, so you want to preempt the burnout.
Yeah, well, it's not like, for totally different reasons, but for the gym, it's supposed to be 4 weeks in the gym, have a rest week.
Okay.
Maybe you should adopt something else as gamers, like, I'm gonna have a month of gaming, have a week off.
Yeah.
Rest the brain, relax.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, I feel like as gamers, unless you're really, really lucky, or what I would deem as quite lucky, we generally have time off between games anyway, don't we? Because and like I said, unless you're very, very lucky, you're not gaming every single day. We definitely don't. We're lucky if we get 2 at a push, 3 game nights or days in a week.
Yeah. But it's not, like we've just been saying, it's switching the mind off as well as not physically gaming. It's like, because I know, because we've spoken about this, even though we only game sort of 2 or 3 times a week, you're thinking about it.
Yeah.
Which means you're not really switching off and just got to go, no, I need to relax.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I kind of feel like I don't switch off from gaming because, yeah, we may only game 2 or 3 times a week, whatever, but, you know, then there's the podcast, which is gaming related.
Yep.
I need to talk about the game, which means I need to think about the game. And then, you know, for me, I have to think about the editing of said podcast. I have to think about the marketing of said podcast. So, yeah, I do have a lot of gaming going on all the time. May not be sat down playing a game, but, you know, always thinking something to do with gaming. You know, and I definitely struggle more with that if I am on a losing streak. So, you know, I know you don't personally have to worry about that, and I make sure that you don't have to worry about that. But sometimes it is just sort of like, well, how the hell does James get through all this, you know, when he's just constantly losing?
I mean, there are other things as well. It's like, depends on how serious I'm taking the game. Because, you know, sometimes it's just funny to go, I haven't really built a strategy. We're going that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see how this pans out.
Yeah, exactly. And that,
you know, those are the ones that I tend to lose horrifically. But yeah, it's sometimes I like to be that little ball of chaos in everyone's plan.
Indeed.
It's like everyone's built their strategy. They're expecting this, and this to happen. What are they not expecting to happen? That's what I'm going to do.
So I've one more question for you, James. And I think you've semi-touched on it already, but just to clarify on it, do you feel like there is a big difference between losing and losing? And when I say that,
I know what you mean.
I'm talking about coming second, third in a game as opposed to coming dead last.
It's not
in
even,
every game.
I don't even think, like you said, I don't even think it's about coming dead last. It's the gap between first and last. You know, like regularly, because our game group knows each other so well, the gap between first and last place is touching distance, where it genuinely anyone could have won that game.
Yeah,
it came down to the last turn.
So, say for example, if we were talking about, say, Smartphone Inc., for example, and I'm using Smartphone for a very specific reason, the score point on that game goes up to like 500 and something.
It was distilled.
Say someone comes in at 400 and you come in at 100.
Yeah, well, you've been absolutely annihilated, basically. Yeah, that is demoralising.
It's demoralising. So if that was you, what would you do to try and get over that demoralising loss?
I'd probably be itching to play the game again.
Yeah,
because I would then be sitting there going, okay, what did I do so wrong?
Yeah, and say hypothetically, say we then did play it again. And it happened again. You played it again, and it happened again. Say 3 or 4 times in a row. It basically happened every single time. Would you say that maybe? I mean, I think obviously you need to take time away from that game specifically.
Yeah.
But do you think you then need to play a lesser game?
Not so much.
Try and build
a different game.
Okay.
A different game, definitely. But yeah, it's like, all right, if you've done that 4 or 5 times in a row, it's like, perhaps this is not my game.
Yeah. You know, I mean...
And it happens to the best of us. There are just games that we just don't get on with.
Yeah, you have a fair few, actually, that you don't get on with, let's be honest. They're usually dexterity-based.
Yes.
So, dear. I mean, off the top of your head, James, is there a particular game that you would say that you just outright dislike?
Cupcake Academy. And I've only played it once. That was enough.
Memory and dexterity.
Yeah.
Never a great mix, is it? Yeah, I don't think I actually have that game anymore from what I remember. But
thank God.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of any games that I would say that I've been demoralised to the point that I wouldn't want to play again.
Yeah, Cupcake Academy for me was just not fun.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
But yeah, I'd say that's probably the only one.
Yeah. Was that not fun because of the loss in that game, or was it just because of the game?
It's the game itself. Yeah, obviously, dexterity and memory, all joking aside, those are probably the 2 worst things.
So we'll have to find some more dexterity and memory games then, James, so that we can both be miserable together.
Yep.
Yes.
Because other games, like, you know, we discussed this in the episode about mechanics, and dexterity was obviously one of mine.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do quite enjoy games like Cobra Paw, which is a dexterity game, because the group I play it with, it's still fun, even though I'm not very good at it.
I'm amazed you class it as fun, James, because you nearly always come away with like fractured or broken fingers playing with me.
Oh, this is for the rare occasion where one of us manages to get you.
Yeah, this is true. This is very true.
It becomes less about getting the points and... this is going to make me sound horrifically bad. It's less about getting the things and it's more about breaking your fingers.
Yeah.
Because if one of us manages to hit you, it's like, yes, moral victory.
Didn't get the piece, but yeah, we broke his fingers. Excellent. No, it's it's been an interesting episode, an interesting discussion.
I mean, I'm looking at here. Here is classic one, Flashpoint.
Okay. Yeah.
That is a game where because it's a team-based game, that is a game that regularly beats us badly.
Yes.
Yet we still play it.
True.
Because it's fun.
Yeah.
Because even though we lose, it's enjoyable.
Yeah. But would you say, though, that you don't suffer from the losing effects of that because you lose together? You're not actually losing to a player.
Yeah. I mean, there is that aspect of it because it's a co-op game.
Yeah.
Rather than a versus game. Yeah, for a lot of them, because I think I'm also more at peace with a lot of the games we play, like the strategy ones, where technically I didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. It's like I said earlier, I get more frustrated with myself when I've made mistakes. But if we're playing Scythe and I've lost that, and I've gone back and analysed it and gone, technically didn't do anything wrong, your strategy was just better.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair.
I'm more at peace with that. It's like you were just the better player. And it's, next time we play it, I'll have to sort of try a different path to victory.
Yeah. No, see, that is a good way to be. And we've talked about it a little bit. I'm not super affected when I lose a game, same as I'm not a particularly, poor winner.
Yeah.
Winner or anything like that.
I still maintain that your gaming group itself is a big asset to that. Again, because a lot of players will then talk after the game. And, the person who won, if they did win tremendously, if you're in a decent gaming group, will actually turn around and explain how.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I've heard it a few times, and again, we joked about it as to why we're having this conversation. I have actually talked to people in the past that have actually said, yeah, I don't play these games because I always lose. So, well, it's worrying that potentially losing all the time could actually put you off the hobby. So I do feel that having a discussion about losing it and actually staying on top of your emotions when you lose is actually quite important.
Yep.
So I genuinely feel if anyone out there really does feel like they lose all the time, think about what we've said, as I do, as I will. I am affected. I'm not afraid to admit that I am affected if I do lose a game, but not in a particularly negative way. I do lose quite a lot, as much as we joke that it's actually James that loses all the time. My win ratio is still better than James's, so all the time that is the case, I will be a happy man.
Not fudging those numbers at all, are you, James?
I'm not fudging those numbers at all, no.
Yeah, I have to trust you to input those stats.
Yeah. Was this the thing, Joe? If you had the app yourself, you'd be able to cross-reference and go, well, Jason's lying about this. But no.
You told me not to do it because it costs money.
Well, I told you not to do it when it was at the full cost, but it hasn't come down since. So we'll have to write that off as expenses for next year, I think. We'll get you on the app.
Yeah.
But
that's just the fact that it's like, are you sure you logged that as a victory for me? Huh?
Yeah. Yes, I do. I'm always honest when it comes to that.
Well, look, I have a 100% win ratio.
Yeah. See, now, what I would do, James, and what I would happily admit is sometimes, just sometimes, if I lose really badly, I forget to put the actual details on there. I'll log who won it, obviously, because everyone deserves their win. But if, say, little Jimmy has got 140 points and I only got 40, I'll give little Jimmy his victory, but I might forget to log that little Jimmy got 140 points and that I only got 40. So that's not dishonest.
I just don't want to remember how badly I got.
Exactly. I don't want to remember it because it's only ever going to be me looking at it, and that's just going to depress me even more.
Hey, Jason, remember this time you got absolutely annihilated?
Yeah. See, that James, we probably should have talked about that. Me storing this data actually doesn't help with me feeling down about my losses, because it gives me a nice breakdown on the opening screen what your win ratio is, and it's slowly going down 1% at a time.
Oh, it's a topic for another topical. That is like, are those apps actually a bonus, good, or are they bad?
There you go. There you go. We will add that to the list, maybe. Another episode done, Joe. That we talked about that a bit longer than I thought we were going to, if I'm honest.
Indeed.
But yeah, there you go. Losing, James.
Losing.
Yes. Back to the ingest. How does it feel being the biggest loser in our game group?
I'm surprisingly comfortable with it.
Excellent. Well, James, I'm glad you're comfortable with it, because in just half an hour's time we will be gaming again and you will be losing again. So let's go and sort that out, clear this table off, ready for some games, because till next week, I have been Jason.
And I've been James.
And you have been listening to the Meeple Minded podcast. Join us next week for more tabletop gaming goodness. Ta-ta, goodbye.